Story 1. I know many people with children, and when you have children, your whole life revolves around them, leaving very little time for yourself. I am not very interested in childcare. I find kids shows annoying and enjoy having my home peaceful and quiet. Having children is just not for me. I leave that to people who love babysitting and related activities. Story 2. I do not want to force anyone to be alive. I also do not want to pass on any mental illness or be a bad father. Story 3. I personally would not want to bring a child into this world because the future looks bleak. Between global warming and the current state of the government, I am afraid they would not have a better life than I do. I do not think it would be wise. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I know you want grandchildren, but it is not happening. Story 4. Trying to find a date with a genuine person is tough enough. Finding a partner in this dating market who will stick it out and not use a child as leverage seems even tougher. I have been divorced and am grateful we never had children. I have already had my life destroyed once and would not risk it again with the added responsibility of children. In short, women these days turn me off, and I would rather be alone and take care of my parents. Story 5. I do not want children because I would be a terrible father. Also, the world is not a child-friendly place at the moment with war and economic problems occurring. Call me selfish, but I do not want to put time and effort into raising a child. I want to live my own life. Story 6. Because the wealth divide is ever widening, and even as a top 10% income earner in my country, that is still not enough to buy an asset or home in one of the cities where I will have to live for work, let alone support a family. I believe if you cannot mostly help your child, either by housing them until they have saved a deposit or helping them buy a property, you should not be having children in the developed Western world. This is simply looking at outcomes for those children realistically, with no eugenics or anything like that. I do not know if the economic situation will become fairer or improve. I doubt it. That is before we get to the world order, which is about to rearrange itself geopolitically. The United States dollar is fading in trust as the reserve currency. If that collapses, who knows what happens next? That is before we consider the rise of Nazis and men who want it to be the 1950s. Plus, going to the gym on Sunday morning and enjoying a beer afterward is nice. Story 7. Gestures at the disaster that is currently the future. I do not know. I do not want anyone to die, but I could never force anyone to live here either. Things are very difficult. Story 8. I will not have children now because I am too old. I have never really wanted children at all. Everyone else is having children, which has led me to have no desire to have children of my own. Story 9. I had a vasectomy at about 30 because I knew that I never wanted children. I remember hearing about the biological clock and that something would switch inside me and I would want to have children. I am 46 now and that switch never flipped. I like my alone time and living a mostly stress-free life. The thought of spending a decade or more getting children ready for school, picking them up from school, making dinner, basically real-life responsibilities, bringing children to school functions and so on sounds really bad to me for some reason. Story 10. To have children, I would need to find a woman willing to have them with me. That step of the process being impossible, I am, as the youth would say, in trouble. Or not, depending on how you see things. Story 11. I am only interested in women who do not want children, so that should tell you enough. I just do not like children. It is not for me, and I do not view having children as something mandatory. Story 12. I have one child and am trying for baby number 2. My child brings me so much happiness. It's hard to describe just how much joy they bring. Yes, they are a lot of work. It took me a long time to want to become a father. I'm glad I did. If you are not sure you should have a child, then do not. Be a committed father. Love them forever. Story 13. I never wanted to feel resentful or exasperated by my children, so I decided I would only have them if I could not live without having children. So far, I do not long for the experience. To 40, I doubt that will change. She wants children less than I do. My family has many children. I think it is reasonable for one or two of us not to have any. Story 14. Part of the reason is that my wife and I are sincerely misanthropic. We love individuals, but humanity as a whole does not seem like a worthy project to which we would like to contribute. We are not antinatalist, nor are we upset that you have invested in this enterprise. We are libertarian natalist and have chosen not to invest in it ourselves. We are Shakers, basically. Story 15. Never wanted to and never appealed to me. I did not see the benefits of being a father. I could not be bothered with all that trouble of becoming a father, then splitting up with the mother, and having to fight to see the children. Just too much hassle that can potentially happen. So I stayed away from it. Story 16. I asked my boyfriend this question last night. His answer surprised me. He said he is terrified of repeating his father's mistakes. It made me realize how much childhood experiences shape these decisions. Story 17. I was born without the desire to have children. I have never had any interest in being a father. I had a vasectomy at the age of 26. It was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Story 18. Not biological children most likely, but if time allows, would adopt a son or two. Why? Because I am not going to marry in this life. Story 19. No, because I don't believe I would be a good father. That's not the only reason. In general, I don't want any children. If I did want them, I would probably make the effort. But I have to actually be able to raise a child well and happy, which, to be honest, I don't think I can at this point in time. Story 20. Because raising children means maintaining a long-term romantic relationship, and if that breaks down, I will not be able to raise my kids. At worst and at best, I will be raising them on my own. Adoption and surrogacy are complex issues on their own. Story 21. I would not have children. I am almost 40, too old to be a first-time father. I do not have the money or the patience, and I have no interest in discovering how difficult and intolerant the mother of these children might be. All my relationships have followed a pattern of crashing and burning with similar types of unstable women who believed they were in love with me. I am not willing to take further chances to see if we can have children of the same type. At my age, I need to focus on retirement plans and goals, not sleepless nights changing diapers or getting a second job to cover the basics for children who may resent me. I have 20 good years of employment left, and I will not waste them starting something that most fathers my age are already finishing. Story 22. I have 2 children. I love them and would not trade them for anything. That being said, I can understand and respect others' decisions not to have children. Story 23. I had a great childhood and wanted children for years. We have 1, but it would be 2 or 3 if it were up to me. The country and the world need smart, kind people. We sadly only managed 1, but she is both. She is much kinder than me. Why else? Children are fun. I did not want to be my family's last generation. My mother was an only child, my father's brother had none, and my sister is unable to have children, although she has since adopted one and is trying for a second. Story 24. When I was younger, I wanted to be a father, but in my late 20s, I realized I would have been a terrible father and husband. The world is a better place with me being childless. Story 25. I was on the fence, but my wife really wanted children, so we have 2 kids. My life is completely different, but the highs are so high that the lowest of lows do not even register. Story 26. Children are expensive, and no matter how hard you try to be a good parent, you are going to make mistakes somehow. I have 3. Story 27. I would have children because I think I would be a good father and would find a lot of joy in the experience. I would not have children because of the current situation in the United States. Story 28. I would never subject an innocent child to the harsh world that the future brings. Home ownership gone, freedom gone, enslaved by a totalitarian new economic society. Why should any child suffer this fate? Do not forget all the transphobic individuals as well as women who use the sexual assault criminal charge to be vindictive. I have seen that ploy used on my longtime friend. Needless to say, the charge did not stick, but still the audacity to use the law as a tool for revenge in an argument. Frankly, the woman who did that should have been charged with filing a false police report. Story 29. I quit dating years ago. Even if I had a partner, I do not particularly like or have patience for children, so I would probably have looked for a partner who was also child-free. Story 30. At 24 years old, I was enthusiastic starting out. They are both young adults now, and I have a great marriage. But if I were living in the United States today at 24, I am not so sure. It is a massive economic commitment. The chance of divorce is almost 50-50 in the first 10 years, and if you are the main earner, as I am, the divorce and family courts are not in your favor. Story 31. No children. Because I value peace and quiet. Because I like to go to horse race meetings and drink. Travel. Sleeping in or staying up late. Regarding material things, owning my house outright at 35. Leaving corporate work and going part-time at 52. An impractical hobby car. An impressive model collection. Story 32. I feel like I am too old for that and not sure I would be able to take the responsibility. That ship sailed the day I got complex regional pain syndrome. Story 33. I am not married yet, but I definitely want children. As many career goals as I have, there is nothing I would love more in my life than to be a good husband and father. I think it is probably because I did not have a father in my life growing up. I want to be for my children what I did not have. I am really drawn to the idea of having children and raising them to adulthood. I want to be an active and involved father. I truly want children. It is something deep in my heart. I want to create life. I believe children are a blessing, and I want to have as many as I can support. Story 34. As a young man, I said that at 35, if I did not meet someone I loved enough, I would not have children. I met my wife at 26. Did not think we would last, but we did. At 35, I had a child with her. People see us and always say how much we love each other to this day. I am still very enamored with her. She makes me a good husband and a better person in general. Story 35. I enjoyed my children. Children are fun people. I assumed I would have children, and I am glad we did. That said, I look at our politics and realize that I would be slow about bringing new children into the United States today. The future does not look bright. Story 36. Let me preface my reply by saying that I generally dislike children. However, I had a deep desire to be the father I never had. So I was undecided. My wife was quite adamant about having a baby, so when we finally found some peace in our lives, we went for it. Let me tell you, I was surprised by how satisfying it is to watch my daughter grow up and learn. It brought me an unexpected level of pride and happiness I did not think I could feel. That said, we have some difficult times occasionally. My wife and I are a bit distant now. Too busy, exhausted, and up all night sometimes. Last night was one of those nights, but I would not trade it away. Story 37. There is a great post that answers this. Yesterday, someone asked, "What do men who do not have children do with their free time?" Most of the responses were basically just getting high, playing video games, watching anime, and being lonely. The point is that it is usually not actually a choice. It is a circumstance that people rationalize by saying things like, "I count my money." Children do not stop anyone from being successful. Story 38. My rough understanding is that I need a woman first. I cannot just create another man without one. I am not like a starfish. Story 39. Look around. We are destroying the world and civilization for greed. Why bring children into this terrible place? Story 40. Someone once said that children are the perfect people you could ask for, half of you and half of the person you love. I was in favor of having children after that. Story 41. Have you seen the world lately? No way would I bring a child into this in my current financial state. Maybe if I moved up 5 or 6 zeros, but not where I am now. No child deserves to inherit the world we are dealing with right now. Story 42. If I were rich, I would probably adopt many children like Jeff Bezos and Angelina Jolie did and hire nannies to help with the routine tasks while I focused on enjoyable activities with them. Story 43. I would be open to having children if I had a good relationship with the right person, but I do not desire children independently of that relationship. Considering that I have always been single, thinking about having children feels like putting the cart before the horse. Story 44. I have a puppy, and it is hard enough work looking after her. I would hate to think of the numerous obligations a child would bring. It would need to be a very solid relationship to consider it. I am in my 40s, so I do not hold out hope. Story 45. Only do it if you have love to share and a legacy to leave. It is not going to make your marriage better, and raising children is very hard. However, if you are cynical, being married with children will give you an unspoken advantage in the professional talent pool, and you will understand human nature, thus react to problems a whole lot better with children than without. Story 46. Only had one child. Looking back, having more would have been nice. I was not well off, and one was what I could handle. I did not plan it. It just happened due to one moment of carelessness. My child is awesome though. Story 47. We finally reached financial security in our early 30s. The thing is, we live in a foreign country where we do not speak the language yet. Our families are 1,000 and 3,000 miles away. We have a few friends here, but all are without children. So, basically, there is no support system. Childcare is really expensive. Mortgage plus childcare would be more than half our total take-home pay. Also, we just bought an apartment and it is comfortable enough for 2 adults, but not for 2 adults and a child. So, we do not want children strongly enough to radically change our life, probably for the worse. Story 48. I would if I ever found a loving and supportive relationship I was willing to commit to for the rest of my life. In reality, I am too scared of being vulnerable to let myself find that person. Story 49. I never wanted children and was never very enthusiastic about dating or relationships, so I never married. Happily unattached at 52. Seeing what a colossal mess the world is in now underscores that it was the right choice. Story 50. Why? I want children. I want to watch them grow up. I want to name my daughters. Why not? I have severely problematic genes, and I would feel bad if they were born and experienced such serious health issues. Story 51. I have children. The best thing I ever did. I have never had a time when I thought, I don't want children. The only concern I ever had was having them with the right woman. Done. Why? Continuation of my name, my family tree, my DNA. Pride in all of that. Story 52. I want at least one child someday. Watching a child grow up, seeing their personality develop, and having someone to love and be loved by sounds like the most emotionally fulfilling experience ever. Story 53. I wasn't sure if I wanted children because the world is so troubled, and my parents were poor role models. After being with my wife for 13 years, I loved her so much that I wanted to create life with her. I was hoping for a little clone of her, in fact. Turns out we ended up with 2 boys, but I have 0 complaints. They have her best qualities and are much better human beings than me. No regrets there. Story 54. On Christmas a couple of years ago, we told everyone that we decided not to have children. On January 2nd, we found out we were pregnant. Now the second one is on the way. Everything is harder than we could have imagined, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. We love our son so much and couldn't imagine life without him. Story 55. 2 of them came with my wife and 1 just moved in. We decided to keep him. I never really planned for any, but I am grateful for them. Story. Live in a stable home and you will know what I mean. Family brings life and purpose into your own life. Story 57. It is generally not our choice. The mother decides when she wants to become pregnant, assuming both partners are able to. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.